my mentor was teaching me the skill side of things. I had no clue about the marketing or sales. Nothing. I knew nothing about it.
What's up, everybody? Today we have Jacob Sieg, a very, very good friend of mine, also a very, very good photographer, business owner. And I'm very excited for him to come on because he have an amazing business background and how he kind of turned a side gig into multiple seven-figure business in his lifetime. So Jacob is the owner of Den and Now Photography, with the concept of creating time-lapse memories of families in his local area. And it didn't take long for Jacob to realize that he could be better at service in his community by also offering another unique service, which is time-lapse photography for city scene, historical landmark, and other famous location that art collectors love to see in a seamless transformation. So, from a solo studio to multiple business owners, Jacob is here to share his success and how he did it. So Jacob, welcome.
Daniel, thanks for having me, buddy. Between photo shoots here, I'm glad that you were able to take my call early. Appreciate that. I know that you have a couple of my images ready to show people. If you want to go ahead and share your screen, I kind of want to walk people through what it is, how I started from a side gig, did regular portrait photography, and then turned it into something totally brand new. And I want to at least help somebody out there maybe start to innovate or give them some hope in this industry. So what you're seeing here is, this is how I started my business, was what a lot of photographers do wrong. So what a lot of photographers do wrong is they don't actually have an offer. That is, they don't even have a core offer. Where my core offer when I first started was, what I'm going to do is offer families the ability to recreate an old photograph that they already have in their photo albums. And what that does is it allows them to actually see their family member transform over time, which is really what we're doing with photography anyway. We're recording time, we're capturing time. Why not do two together next to each other is what you're seeing here. So these images is where I've recreated family images. So what I did next was took it to a new level where I started to recreate old photographs that already exist. You see here, this one's from 1963, the black and white area. But then I recreate the photograph from the same perspective and the same time of day. All the photographers watching should be able to resonate with that one. Taking the photographs, the new photograph at the same time of day, allows for the shadows to line up and the highlights to line up, which allows for that seamless transition to happen. So what you're seeing is what I just went to. Daniel, if you want to switch back to the other files. This is another variation of my hometown representing the Greenville Country Club. So as I do my artwork, I pick more and more prominent businesses out there to showcase, because this is what people buy and they want to have the memories of those locations. So flip back a couple. And again, going back to the photographers watching, if you don't have a core offer, I hear this a lot. I have a lot of coaching students and they're photography coaching students. And what I hear oftentimes is I create memories. I create memories for people, which is not totally entirely true. That is not an offer. What you're truly offering is some sort of emotion, evoking emotion. And what I invoke is nostalgia. And through my work with the recreation of the photographs next to each other, and honestly, I'll show you one right here. This is one that I've expanded to where I actually show, this is Lakeshore Drive in Chicago, Illinois, blended together as one image. You'll see people walking next to each other, the skyline in the background. You can see the horse and buggies here, okay? So by doing such a thing, I was able to, give something back to the communities that wasn't just moments in time, which is what a lot of photographers are doing out there. And if you're struggling out there as a photographer, you may want to rethink what it is that you're offering your community.
So, how did you get started into photography?
That's an interesting story. So when I was like 13, I got a hand-me-down 35mm SLR camera from my mom. Ran through probably 400 rolls of film, eaten up all of her money. getting the worst photographs out of there, not knowing until 2 weeks later that the photographs are crap. So what I did, I actually, to get good at photography, what I did was I would bring a notebook with me. I'd bring a notebook and I'd say frame 1 was f8 at 1/250th of a second. Frame 2 is this and this, and frame 3 is that. Because with digital cameras these days, it saves all that information for you. Which, you guys, it's not helping you any that information is getting saved for you, because you should be clocking that information in your head as you're shooting. And I keep saying it, and I keep telling people, and I keep teaching it during my presentations, any seminars that I do. What I really preach is raw photography, shooting photography raw, so you don't have to do all the editing to make up for it. And a lot of people spend a lot of time in the office instead of being in the field shooting.
So when did you make a point of like making this into a business, you know, because yeah.
So when I was 17, I was in high school, and I sat down. I remember sitting down at the lunch table, and my friend Leslie, she was eating lunch, and she's like, "I just got this photography job. They do all this cool editing on the computer and blah 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 blah." And I'm like, I have my camera, and I'm like, "It sounds like something I should be doing." She's like, "Well, I can set you up with him." And his name was Kirk Fleischauer, rest in peace. Kirk Fleischauer, my mentor. And so I went in for an interview, and he hired me on the spot. And I became his assistant. And by becoming his assistant, we were still in the film era, which really got me started. Got me started learning the technical sides, and I was only getting paid $9-10 an hour, whatever. But then I started to get a lot of inquiries because I was doing photography on the side. But because my mentor was teaching me the skill side of things, I had no clue about the marketing or sales. Nothing. I knew nothing about it. But I was getting inquiries. And, you know, I would book a wedding here and there, and I'd go back to work 40 hours a week, wedding here and there. And it started to snowball a little bit, and I started to get more and more of a reputation around town.
So what has been the best method for you to like get clients in your city?
I mean, I used to say the best method was word of mouth and referrals, which is still a pretty good methodology. I have a thing that I like to call lifetime clients. That is, I keep clients around, especially the better ones, by giving them incentives, gifts. They'll invite me to their bar mitzvahs, all kinds of different things. But literally, one of the best things that's gotten me the most clients calling me is actually ranking on Google, or being at least one of the top ranks on Google, to allow clients to actually call me. So I'm not literally out there just like hitting people up in their messenger, like, "Hey, you want a photo shoot for half off," or whatever, like desperately trying to fill my calendar. So one of my first tips to people when it comes to, and here's one of the things I wanted to say on this call too, and I just brought it up, is if you guys focus on your Google accounts as much as your Facebook accounts for a few months, watch what will happen to your calendar. By focusing on a niche that is graduation photography, of course, I photograph all kinds of things: products, commercial, architecture, blah, 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 blah. And that's because I come up as a specific niche. And I make this analogy all the time, guys. Do you want to be the jack of all trades that's like a primary care doctor? That is, you do every kind of photography out there, and that's how you market yourself. That's how people are going to see you. Or do you want to be the surgeon specialist that specializes in one type of photography, one type of client, and knows exactly how to speak to those clients, which brings back the point of marketing. Speak directly to your clients. They'll feel like you're talking directly to them on a massive scale. And that's really what Google is all about, is if you put the right things on Google and people are searching for what it is you offer, going back to the offer, what it is that you offer. You can't just say, "I'm a photographer that creates memories." That may work for you for beer money, but that's not going to work for you for a long-term scale and just long-term business plan. Which I think is why being ranked on Google at least somewhere is a good idea.
Yeah, I mean, I think you spoke a lot about like being the local reputation, right? If your client, your ideal client is on Google looking for a graduation photography, I don't know where else they would look. Like, I can't think of another place. Like, they're not on Medium looking for a photographer. They're not on YouTube. They use Google. That's the only thing they use, right?
This is the same thing, Daniel. I'm glad you said that. This is the same stuff that I tell my students: is they grind away on social media, posting in groups, posting on their stories, their own Facebook pages, basically begging for clients. People don't come to social media to look for business. They don't come there to look for a photographer. They don't come there to look for a plumber. They don't come there to look for a real estate agent. They might find you on there and just come across you. But what people come to social media for is usually just to relax, either on their work at break or the break at work, or after work when they get home, done with the kids, they start scrolling their feed. And the last thing they're going to do or want to do is give you money. There's a difference between being found on Google and just being the diamond in the rough on social media that someone's going to heckle you with on the prices, or worse, they're going to send you a message that says, how much do you cost, and then leave you unread. When it comes to a photographer and their client's relationship, it's very personal, especially in the high end of things. When you're charging 5, 7, 10K a wedding, this relationship between the photographer and your client is very, very personal. By being on Google, you've got your reputation right there. You've got photos of you working with clients. You've got people talking about how great you are. They trust you. Repeat business. On my reviews, I get people to talk about repeat business. Because again, when it comes down, and this isn't just photography that I'm talking about, this is just local business in general. It's built on relationships. And as photographers, you are working locally, and the better personality that you have, and that is, you don't have to be Mr. Personality. You just got to be genuine. And we as photographers have a small leeway of eccentricism that we can be a little bit weird. So if you're a little bit uncomfortable with people, it's a little bit allowed in this business. But on social media, they're just talking basically to themselves. They're just chatting away with themselves to a blank screen, hoping that some robot's going to reply. They have no idea what your voice sounds like. They have no idea what you look like. They can't see your face, blah, blah, blah. Which is why if I do get an inquiry on social media, bring it straight to Zoom immediately, or a phone call. No texting back and forth and giving them that opportunity to leave you unread.
What do you think that, most photographers are doing wrong that they couldn't get clients?
I know exactly what they're doing wrong. They're not findable, for number one. They're not simply not findable. They're hiding in their houses, hoping that someone's going to come knock on their door. Third and foremost, and I think this is probably the most important, they lack confidence. And I know this as a photography coach, that a lot of beginner photographers and even intermediate into advanced photographers, they lack confidence, which, it hurts their ability to close a sale. And if they do close a sale, it's at a lower rate because they allowed themselves to get heckled down to a smaller price. When you have confidence in yourself and you have confidence in your ability, it allows you to sell better. It allows you to do better work. And it allows you to do less time sitting at the computer, which me as a photographer, I prefer to be in the field actually shooting. I don't like to be doing what I call office works. And for everybody that's out there that likes to edit, that's fine.
So right now, how many clients, are you shooting like a monthly basis? And where do you see yourself, growing to finish the year from now to the end of the year?
Yeah. So I'm in a place now, since I rank high on Google, since I rank number 1 on Google, I get a good number of calls coming in. I get a lot of referrals coming in. But what I've been doing lately is, to some of the photographers around my area, is selling those leads to them, because, they might be really heavy. They got a low budget, or they may not be somebody I want to work with. Okay, you qualify them. I may not want to work with them. I'll sell that lead to somebody else and literally just cherry pick clients that I like to take. So I try to do about 2 weddings a month, and then, a couple of graduations during the week. That is enough for me, because I spend a lot of time running my other businesses, which is my then and now art. I've got the then and now photography, which is the recreation of the old photographs to get side by side of the family members. Then I've got my art business, which we showed you earlier, which I spend a lot of my time selling, marketing, and doing phone calls with that, and actually creating the art. That is traveling to different world locations, finding historic landmarks, finding the old photography. That's some of the most fun, is looking for old photographs that exist of, say, Chicago, California, Boston, North Carolina, wherever, it doesn't matter. Italy, Canada, anything. Everywhere in the world has old photographs. Then going to those same locations, booking the flight, writing it off on my taxes, okay? Booking the flight there, doing the recreation of the photography, and making that my trip. And so where I really see myself in the 5 to 10 year mark is not having to do really much of anything at the computer, and just doing full photography, travel, and spending time with my family as much as I can. And, one of the main things that allows me to do that is having clients call me and not having to go out there And don't let me shy you away from going to public events, but I really don't have to do public events anymore. That is, like, they might have some sort of event, a wine, hors d'oeuvres, meet and greet thing downtown every weekend. I don't really got to do that anymore because my reputation is high, but I highly suggest for those photographers out there that are looking to make a full-time income at this business to get out there and meet your local people, meet your business owners, give them your business cards or whatever. But you know what the best business card is? Yourself. Be memorable. Shake with a strong hand. Say your name loudly. Make sure they don't forget it. Okay. Everybody's guilty of this. When you meet somebody, you forget their name right away. Do not let that happen for the other person that you're meeting to you. I'm sure you see you nodding your head over there, Daniel. You're going to agree to that one. Be memorable. And being memorable means looking good, feeling good. And that's going into a whole different conversation that I bring into my coaching students is your health and relationships is your wealth. And having those things dialed in is going to be the key to my future and everybody else's futures out there. Live a healthy life so that you can do good work. And if you're not doing that, you're not doing good work. And then you're not serving your community the best way that you can. And I'm all about serving my community as much as I can. And if you don't feel that way, again, I said this earlier, is find it in your heart. You know, ask yourself, what is it that you want to do with your life and what kind of legacy do you want to live?
Mm-hmm.
And I know I want to live a legacy, you know, where do I see myself in 10 years? It's more so, where do I see myself in 100 years? And where do I see my name in 100 years? Better be in some gosh darn history books.
Man, I mean, you might be for those photograph, the then and now picture of Chicago. That looks really cool, man.
That's the goal, man. That's the end goal. The reason why I do my photography still, the portrait photography, and the reason why I'm still doing the coaching for other photographers is so that I can have the residual income enough to never have to worry about money again. I don't even have to worry about sales again. If that's really my goal, is that just do my legacy project. I'll show it again. Just do my legacy project. That is traveling the world, recreating old photographers' images accurately to scale and then blending them together. And here's what really trips me out. This one is from 2014. Well, in 30 years, maybe I can add a third layer to this one and really show what people like to call a time machine.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
People are like, you invented a time machine. I'm like, you're not totally wrong.
Man, that's crazy, man. To see such a 100-year, shift. So much thing has changed already, and
the change in clothing, the way what people wear, modes of transportation. And what's really trips you out, Daniel, is when you're doing these new photographs and you get out there and you're like, you're standing in the same scene. You're like, I am standing within history right now. I'm looking at the old photograph on my iPad, so I use it to scale. And then I'm looking at the actual scene in front of me, and I'm like, yep, that's still there. That building's still there, and we'll line ourselves up. And then what I do for the photographers out there is I wait to take my new photograph to complement something that's happening in the old photograph. So that is maybe someone old is walking past. I might wait for somebody new walking towards or something like that. And that's where I see myself. And I'm running there at 100 miles per hour.
I mean, that's probably the best residual income. You do the work once and you just sell into prints. And I think that's gonna be a long-term play. So talk to me about your coaching program, man. Like, I know you got a little coaching group. You got, I don't know, a couple hundred, 1,000 people in there.
Yeah.
What's going on there?
Yeah. So I got a pretty big following when it comes to beginner, intermediate photographers. I started out teaching basic skills. That is lighting, posing, how the functionalities of your camera, how to interpret light, how to perceive light to make people look their best. About a year into that, I realized what I really need to be doing is helping people overcome imposter syndrome and helping them sell themselves. I feel like that is what people lack the most. And Daniel, you and I have talked about this privately, and photographers, listen, I know this is going to resonate with you. You start out there, you get your camera, you get out there and you're like, I want to become the best photographer out there. I'm going to work on my skills. I'm going to do that. I'm going to work myself to death to do that. Then you realize, well, I need some clients. Well, then you got to learn marketing. Then you get people either calling or knocking on your door, hopefully. And then you realize you need some sales skills. And so what I'm doing now with my coaching program is actually reversing that process, where I teach skills last, because I firmly believe that people need to learn marketing they need to learn sales, and they need to learn the confidence in themselves. So what I do very heavily in my program with anybody that starts is overcome their imposter syndrome. That is, it looks a little bit different for everybody, but at least I think it should resonate with most people out there. Guys, your value as a photographer does not lie in the immediate satisfaction of your client getting the photos. It does not. Your value does not lie in how many likes they get in their photographs. It does not lie in how many shares it gets. The value of what you do lies in when their house is burning down, God forbid, what is the one thing they're going to go grab out of their house? Their photographs, their family memories. That's what they're going to go grab. And that's what you guys are selling. It's really important to remember that you're not selling likes on social media. You are selling memories of people when they look their best, especially 10, 15, 20 years down the road. They want to look back at those memories. That's where the money comes in. That's why we're valuable. It's not for the immediate gratification of, look at the back of my camera, it looks great, and then show your client right away, and then that high they get from that's gone. Delay that a little bit, delayed gratification, and know that your value, if you're having trouble pricing yourselves, same thing going back, this is what I teach in my coaching program. If you're having trouble pricing yourselves, remember, I like to say this, how expensive is your family? How expensive is their family? What are they actually worth? What do they think that they're worth? And ask yourself that, and then price yourself accordingly. Then work on your skills and see what happens to your calendars. Yeah. And so, just that, I don't know if that answered your question, but yeah.
Yeah. So like for your coaching group right now, how many students have you coach?
With my core coaching program, that's the big one, is 66 students. Mm-hmm. And I probably have a total of maybe 150 plus in my lower ticket program, that some of them have moved over into the high ticket program. I have something what they call a value ladder. So you can buy in at a lower price, and then if you like it, you can move on to coaching. If you like that, you can move on to longer coaching and business coaching, and so on and so forth. And keep it as more of a tailored program based on what it is you already know. When someone signs up for my program, I do an assessment call. And that is, I run them through some quizzes. How much money are you making right now? How many clients have you taken on? What's 2 stops wider than F8? What's 2 stops more narrow than F8? Across the entire spectrum, to get an idea where people are in their skill sets. Well, I'm going to just hit everybody with it. Everybody needs to work on their skill sets of all kinds. Skills, that is photography skills, sales, and marketing. And the reason that is because everybody is a different person. We all come in different shapes and sizes, mindsets and brains. And it's important to really realize that you are not that important, photographer. What's really important is the clients that's coming to your door and making them happy. We all know that people can be really bad at photography and have a really great business. And I know that there's probably some people listening that are mad about that. Okay. Why are you mad about that? They're still serving their community. They are making their community members happy. And that's all that truly matters in a local business is, are you serving your community? Take your ego out of it. Too many photographers with too big of egos out there. And like I said, speak from the heart. That's the best way I can say is, you're not speaking from the heart to your clients, then they're getting a bad vibe from you. And one of the this trips people up all the time. I've done over 400 weddings. I've done 5 contracts. And the reason is they trust me. I listen to them. I repeat back to them so they feel validated, and just working on your ability to communicate. And I think photographers can struggle with this because introverts are naturally gravitate towards being behind the camera instead of in front of it. One of the best things you can do for yourself, photographers, is get in front of the camera. Okay. Go feel what your clients feel. Okay. This will help you immediately with your skill set.
That's great, man. Thank you for that. I think so many, I would say, photographers in general are not taking a lot of practice at sales, right? They spend so much time on the editing or on the gearhead, right? Have all the latest and the greatest gear, but no clients.
No clients. Yeah. You know what I mean? And to them, it's always somebody else's fault too.
Yeah.
And again, I'm speaking from a coach, not just a photographer. I'm speaking from a coach. To them, it's usually somebody else's fault that they're not getting clients. Guess what? Photography is not the only market that's saturated. Daniel, nail salons, how many are there nearby you?
I don't know, like 80,
Yeah.
80
There's
salons.
only 5 photography studios near me. That in that ratio of competition, there's more competition in other niches than there are in photography.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So why is it that other photographers are getting more clients than others? Well, they're findable. Where are they findable on? Google. Spend as much time on your Google My Business or Google Business profile as you do on Facebook and Instagram for 3 months and see what happens.
So if somebody's like listening and they want to learn more about photography in general, or just kind of get better ranking on Google, do you have some sort of training or a group that they can kind of join and be part of the program?
I do. If you guys want to go over to what is called Google on Facebook, Google My Business for photographers. Inside that group is 2,100 active photographers that are actively increasing their clients using the Google platform. But what I want to provide for you is I want everybody to go ahead and join that group. Just type in Google My Business for photographers. It'll pop right up. You'll see this beautiful face on there. But what I want to do is for anybody that wants help overcoming this imposter syndrome and pricing your photography in the right way, I have a link for you here, which I'm going to send over to Daniel so that he can take care of this. Daniel, I'm going to send it in the Zoom chat. This is, go ahead and click on this. And what this is going to help you do is get on the right track to overcoming that lack of confidence that you have in yourself as a photographer. Let me tell you a little something about that. The reason why you have a lack of confidence in photography is because you enjoy it. Because you enjoy something, you deserve to be paid even more for doing it. Okay? That's what I like to tell people is because you enjoy it is why you feel reluctant to charge for it. I love playing video games, but if I'm going to go play video games for an audience, I'm going to charge for it. Don't let yourself be free.
I'm going to leave the links in the description, guys, and you can, feel free to click on it, check him out. Of course, I will leave his personal profile, or maybe a Facebook profile, so you can get in touch with him if you have any questions. But Jacob absolutely killing it with the Google ranking and getting, dozens of inbound phone calls every single week of people seeking his services. So now he can say, no, yes, no, yes, right? It's not like, yes, I want, but it's like, no, that's not a good fit for me. I don't do that stuff. I don't do horseback riding photography. You know what I mean?
For the right price, maybe.
Maybe, you pay me $10,000, I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. And one of the more important things that just to touch on that before we drop off here, when you do get ranked high in Google, you get so much inquiries that you actually have to organize. And to have a software that actually organizes this for you, what we call CRMs, if you're not familiar with them. And so you can leave notes about clients and have people follow up with them, automations, emails, text blasts, missed call, text backs, all that different stuff. Getting the traffic in is one of the conversions you need to do, but handling that traffic is the next step. And that's one of those good problems, but it is one of the problems that occurs in business that you do need to take care of. And guess what? You solve enough problems in business, you get to become a millionaire. Congratulations.
All right, man. Well, thank you, Jacob, so much for coming on and sharing your success secrets on how to have a successful photography business. So anyway, thank you for coming on. It was a great show. It was a great honor to have you here. And we'll see you guys next time. Stay tuned.